ท่านเอกอัครราชทูตรัสเซียประจำประเทศไทยคนใหม่ท่านคิริล บานสกี้เป็นนักการทูตที่น่าสนใจมากครับเพราะว่ามาถึงปั๊บเนี่ยถ้าแค่เดือนเดียวเนี่ยผมก็เจอแล้วมีแนวคิดของการสร้างความสัมพันธ์ความคึกคักที่จะเปลี่ยนโฉมหน้าความรู้สึกของรัสเซียต่อประเทศไทยหลายๆด้านทีเดียวครับ Ambassador Bansky, welcome.
Thank you.
You have been here a month?
Yes, I'm a new Russian ambassador, and it's been a little more than a month that I've arrived in Thailand. But I've already fully engaged in the execution of my mission,
Yes.
which is to promote bilateral relations between Russia and Thailand.
In what way do you plan to strengthen relations between the two countries?
First of all, I would like to say that Russia and Thailand are linked with each other for a long tradition of friendship,
Very long.
which was established as early as late 19th century
Yeah.
by His Majesty King Rama V,
Yes.
and the Russians are Nicholas II. And it is a very rare thing between the two nations that in the year 2017 we are going to celebrate the 120th anniversary of diplomatic relations between our countries.
It is a
So-
long relationship, right?
Yes, and this is our great asset, and basing ourselves on this amazing foundation of good traditions of friendship between Russia and Thailand, I believe we have very good opportunities for the promotion of cooperation in all areas, starting from political dialogue between our leaders, economic and trade cooperation, cultural exchanges, and people-to-people contacts. I'm sure that we are on a threshold of a new stage of relationship between Russia and Thailand.
Is Russia coming back to Asia, shall I say? Meaning that
Well, Russia has never left Asia.
But you
Russia
were
has
not
always
that
been
close.
here.
But they were not that close to
Well,
Asia.
it is a very discussable question because geographically speaking, Russia is a part of Asia.
Of course.
Historically speaking, we've had very good relations with the Asian countries for a long, long time. And in fact, the Soviet Union, which is a predecessor of Russia, rendered assistance
Yes.
and aid to many Asian countries in their fight for independence, and supported them in their economic build-up in the 20th century. And Russia, as a successor of the Soviet Union, continues these traditions of good
Yes.
relations with most of the Asian countries. And now we are reinvigorating our relationship with Asia because this corresponds with our own interests in developing the Russian Far Eastern
Yes.
and Siberian regions, joining the integration process in the Asia-Pacific region. So we are doing this for the sake of ourselves, and we are doing this for the sake of the security, stability, and prosperity of Asia.
Well, the United States is talking about pivot to Asia, rebalancing power in Asia. Are you trying to balance the American influence in...
Nothing of the kind.
No?
No. We believe that the world has changed. It is no more the world which is dominated by one country or one military bloc. We are moving very quickly to a multipolar world, like it or not. And this is a new reality which should be reflected in multilateral mechanisms.
Yes.
This is why so big stress is put on multilateral diplomacy these days. And what we need now is not leadership of one country, but the collective leadership of all Asians. And Asia should belong to all of us. This is the fact of life, and we cannot avoid it. Russia is trying to play its part as a country which offers uniting, positive agenda, which is famous for coming up with some interesting proposals in terms of security cooperation, economic integration, and so on. So we are ready to join hands with other Asian nations to make the Asia-Pacific region a more peaceful and prosperous place to live.
So you don't see a third Cold War or new Cold War happening over the Ukraine confrontation between the United States and Russia? Because some people say another Cold War is coming up over Ukraine. And Russia, President Putin and President Obama of the United States are like this, face to face.
Well, I hope it will all pass by.
Yes.
Because I think that all the reasonable political forces in the world, all the countries in the world, are wishing to have a peaceful world. Nobody wants Cold War. Nobody wants conflicts.
Yes.
And Russia is a country which wishes to have good relationship with both the European Union, with the Asian countries, and of course with the United States.
Yeah.
But what we want from our partners is to be respectful of our interests, of our positions, and to conduct dialogue and cooperation on an equal basis.
But you're facing sanctions from the United States and
That's
EU,
true.
the
Yeah.
economic sanctions.
That's true.
Isn't that a kind of a confrontation?
Well, Russia is not the one who introduced sanctions against anybody. We believe that sanctions are illegal and unfair. We are a victim of sanctions, which are based on the desire of some political forces to weaken Russia,
Yep.
to limit the ability of Russia to project its power, to develop its economy, to improve the welfare of their people. So, of course, the only thing we can say about the sanctions that we regret that there are countries and people who wish to use this instrument, which is completely contradictory to the nature of today's world, when cooperation and collaboration and integration are the main tendencies. But we're not scared.
You're not.
No. Russia is a self-sufficient country.
Are you trying to get supply, especially agricultural supply from Asia, to cope with the sanctions?
Well, today's world is a multipolar world, and the world is not limited to the United States or to the European Union. Russia has plenty of good friends and partners all over the world, including in Asia. And of course, when we are searching new markets and looking for new partners and exploring some new avenues
Yes.
of cooperation, we are looking eastward. Of course, we are not turning our back on Europe. Europe has always been, still is, and will continue to be our major partner. But the Asia-Pacific region is the most dynamic economy of the world. And of course, we are seduced by possibilities which are offered by China, India, ASEAN, Japan, the Republic of Korea. And of course, we will continue to work closely as we used to do in the past. But now, by the situation which Russia finds itself in, we are reconfirmed in our commitment to the promotion of cooperation with the countries of the Asia Pacific.
United States and Europe say you more or less invaded Ukraine, your action in Ukraine
Do you
is
buy
not
this?
acceptable.
Do
I
you
don't
buy
know.
this?
I'm asking you.
No.
No?
Of course
It's
not.
not true?
No, of course not.
Uh-huh.
There are no Russian troops in the Ukraine, and there cannot be, because we are respectful of the international law. How can we? That this is absolutely impossible. And I hope that the open-minded people of Thailand and the open-minded mass media of Thailand will dismantle this silly theory in your coverage. What Russia is standing for is the principle of non-interference into the domestic affairs of the countries. We are against colored revolutions. And this is what happened in the Ukraine when the United States and the European Union supported the coup d'etat and brought to power extremist nationalistic forces which prohibited a huge part of the population of Russia from speaking their own language and discriminating them. So the only thing that part of Ukraine could do is to resist and to defend their interests. And because the majority of the population of the eastern and southeastern part of the Ukraine are Russian speakers. A lot of people have affiliation with the Russians, with the Russian citizens who live in Russia, their relatives and their business relationship and so on and so forth. So, of course, we cannot remain indifferent in this situation. And morally speaking, of course, we support them because they're fighting for the right cause. But Russia is of the view that the conflict in Ukraine should be resolved by peaceful means, by the parties concerned, through dialogue between Kiev and the authorities of the self-proclaimed Donetsk and Lugansk republics. What Russia can do is to facilitate the execution of the Minsk agreements which were reached last September. And we, as a friendly country to Ukraine, as a good partner of the European Union and the country who is interested in peace and stability in Europe. Of course, we will do our utmost.
So you think there's a way out of
bring
this?
Peace to Ukraine.
There's a way out of this crisis in Ukraine?
Of course. I'm sure it will happen sooner or later, but it will.
You talk about coup in Ukraine. What about the coup in Thailand? What is Russia's position?
Well, of course, Russia is a democratic country, so we believe that all the problems of Thailand should be resolved in a democratic way through dialogue, by peaceful means, and within the constitutional and the legal framework. But how to achieve this is in the hands of the people of Thailand. We cannot interfere. This is the domestic affair of Thailand. And only the people of Thailand knows better what to do and how to do. But as a friendly country, of course, we are here to help. And we are ready to promote our cooperation and to do it in contact with the interim government of Thailand. We do not see any obstacles on the way of continuing the projects that we've already
So relations
kickstarted
has not been
in the
affected?
past. No, the relations will not be affected, and we're already planning some political contacts and meetings of the Bilateral Trade and Economic Commission and also the Subcommission on Agriculture and Subcommission on Trade and investment. The meetings are going to be convened in Moscow in late November, and that will pave way to signing intergovernmental and interagency agreements and contracts between private companies, which I hope will bring the good outcomes both for the Russian Federation and Thailand.
Russian investment in Thailand is still quite limited. How
That's true.
do you propose to expand it?
Well, investment is a bilateral thing.
Yeah.
We, of course, are interested in more investment in the Russian economy, and some investment made by the CP Group already proved successful.
Yep.
And I heard of the plans of the CP Group to expand its investment in the agricultural sector of Russia. But at the same time, Russia can also invest more in Thailand, first and foremost in such areas as energy cooperation.
Yes.
In September, the two sides signed a memorandum of understanding on cooperation in the field of the peaceful use of nuclear energy. We start with small things, but we hope that in the future we can have full-fledged cooperation on this. The construction of hydropower plants, the export of Russian energy equipment to Thailand, the construction of electricity pipelines, infrastructure development, our investment in the industrial zones which are functioning in Thailand and very successfully is also one of the options.
Yeah.
The last but not least, the Russian community, which is quite numerous these days in Thailand, also consists of a big number of businessmen who have the investment in such areas as property, retail, jewelry, and IT. And I'm sure that these investments are going to expand alongside with the good development of the economy of Thailand, which I'm sure is going to happen.
Tourism is a big thing for Russians here, because if you go to Pattaya, you see all these Russian signs, a lot of Russian people there, Phuket and all this. How are you going to even further promote tourism from Russia and for Thai tourists to be able to spend more time in Russia? What is the number of Russian tourists to Thailand now?
Last year, 1.7 million Russian tourists visited Thailand. And this year we expect even more, because the tendency for the last several years was that every year the number of tourists increased by 20 to 30%. I will tell you this. The Russian people have a long-standing romance with Thailand.
Romance?
Yes, this is what I call it, because indeed the people of Russia are in love with Thailand.
Yes.
There is some special chemistry between Russian and Thai people. I think it is embedded in the national character, the traditional values, the way of life, and to make a long story short, Russian people feel very comfortable in Thailand, and the Russians get along with the Thai people very well.
Yes.
Maybe this is one of the reasons why so many Russian people wish to come to Thailand, and when they come to Thailand, they are dreaming about coming here again.
Yeah.
Of course, the Russian people are lured by the beauties of the southern part of Thailand, the beaches of Pattaya and Phuket and Samui and Krabi and Phi Phi, and adventurous Russian tourists are anxious exploring new resorts and new places. But I hope the future of the Russian tourism in Thailand lies not in the south, but in the north.
Yeah.
And it is just a matter of time and maybe advertisement on the part of Thailand to bring more Russian tourists to such places as Chiang Mai or Isan or Ayutthaya, because the cultural relics and the natural beauties of that part of Thailand is something which I'm sure will be of great interest to our tourists.
When you mention Thailand in Russia, what is the image?
Thailand in Russia.
When you meet a Russian and say Thailand, what is the image that comes up?
Well, I think the first thing which comes to a mind of a Russian person when he speaks about Thailand, that it's a good country.
Yeah.
That it's beautiful and smiling people. And that it's a very comfortable place to go, especially when it is cold winter in Russia.
Yeah.
And it overlaps with the high season and the dry season in Thailand. And of course, exquisite traditional culture of
Food,
Thailand.
Thai food?
Thai food, of course. Everybody loves it in Russia. Tom yum
Massage?
soup.
Thai massage?
I don't know, probably. But it is a complex phenomenon,
Yeah,
you know. So you cannot take out one element and forget about the others. So it's the whole subculture in Russia when people use the internet and social networks, and then they exchange SMS and texts about Thailand and information where to go and what to see and so on. It's a whole subculture in Russia, the admiration of Thailand. So I hope that this love affair will continue. But another question about tourism in Russia is something which deserves more efforts on both sides. Russia is
more Thai tourists going to Russia.
Yes.
How many Thais go to Russia every year?
Unfortunately, the number is
quite small.
Not big. Last year, only 24,000 Thais visited Russia.
So we are running a big deficit.
Yeah, but I think this can be compensated by our joint efforts to advertise the natural beauties and the cultural relics of Russia, not only Moscow and St. Petersburg. We are a country of big opportunities and huge tourist resources. Before coming to Thailand, I visited a couple of places in Russia, including my hometown, Vladimir, which used to be the ancient capital of Russia, a city 200 kilometers to the east of Moscow. And the governor of the Vladimir region told me that they welcome more and more Thai tourists to come to Vladimir to see old churches and monasteries, and they will enjoy it greatly. But not only tourists, but also businessmen who are.
But this is not known to Thai
industry.
people, you see. So you have to make it known to Thai people.
We will try our best, and this is one of the agenda of the Russian embassy in Thailand.
Ambassador Bansky, you plan to be very active, proactive in your job in Bangkok, right?
Yeah. I hope that during my tenure here, we will be able to bring the cooperation between Russia and Thailand to a new height. And I will do my best to serve the people of Thailand and the people of Russia.
So you plan to have more activities, you plan to sell more Russian products, you plan to promote investment on both sides.
That's true. And our cooperation should encompass a wide range of areas, not only traditional areas which we had good cooperation, like agriculture and tourism, but we should also look at new opportunities, such as military sales from Russia to Thailand. We have a lot to offer because the Russian weaponry is famous all over the world, and as we register the interest of the Thailand army in purchasing more arms from Russia,
such as
we are very hopeful. Helicopters and aircrafts, and we start from this, and then probably we'll move to some other areas of cooperation and other types of weaponry, such as tanks and armored vehicles and submarines whatsoever. Russia has a lot to offer.
So you are ready to deal in trade in every way. Agricultural products, military weapons,
and
even science
and technology. Why not? Yes, we have some good brains in Russia, and in Thailand, people are very proficient in converting innovations into commercial products, and I think we can cooperate on this.
When you mention Russia, to the most Thai people, the impression is, well, we used to be on different sides in the Cold War, right? And generally people would think about Russians being quite aggressive, mysterious, secretive. How are you going to change that image?
Look at me.
You don't look like...
Am I aggressive?
No, you're totally different.
Am I secretive?
Yeah, totally different. How are you going to change the image of Russians in Thailand?
The great majority of the Russian people are just like me.
Like you?
I'm
smiling,
just a simple,
friendly
Russian guy. Yes, of course.
Ready to discuss any issue.
But look, we live in a northern country where we have cold weather more than 7 months a year. And of course, Russian people, unlike people in Thailand, we're not smiling to every to every pedestrian, you know, to every person who comes up to us. But when you become friends with a Russian, you will find out that you will never discover such cordiality and openness in people in other countries.
Especially when you start drinking together.
Of course.
Right?
Yes, this is the best way to open up their hearts.
Sure.
But there are also other ways.
Is it true Russians are hard drinkers?
No. Russians drink to celebrate the holidays. Russians drink when good friends come together. When we have family gatherings, when we commemorate some important dates, like the Victory Day, when we celebrate birthdays. But we drink to be more open and to be more to be freer in the expression of our feelings towards a person whom you'd like to talk heart to heart, you know. So this is the reason of this tradition.
Because people think of vodka when they hear Russia, right? Vodka is your national drink. Is it true or not?
Vodka is a great brand, and I would like to promote more vodka here in Thailand among the people who are fond of, you know, new kind of tastes and flavors and so on.
So that's a mission also, to promote vodka and caviar, huh?
Caviar, of course, and Russian cuisine. By the way, you can find lots of Russian restaurants in Pattaya.
All the Russian signs, restaurants and Russian food now.
I was amazed by the figures. They told me that the total Russian population of Pattaya exceeds 250,000 people.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Incredible.
of course, this is the great asset in our relationship, because all of them should be viewed as ambassadors of friendship between Russia and Thailand.
And of course, with this also bring problems. Some of them may not be very good citizens,
Yes,
and they form criminal gangs. Have you heard about it?
that is true. Like in every diaspora, you have good people and bad people.
Yeah.
And my firm belief is that there are much more good people than bad people.
Yes.
And of course, we know that there are criminals who are hiding from persecution in Russia. And there are people who arrived in Thailand to do their dirty business.
Yeah.
But we are cooperating with the law enforcement agencies of Thailand to bring those people to justice. And especially for the recent months, we've seen quite an upsurge in the arrests of the Russian criminals wanted in Russia at the request of the Russian police through the Interpol. And they are arrested in Thailand and extradited to Russia. We have had 10 cases in the recent months, and a couple of new cases are in the pipeline. And the Russian embassy has established a hotline with the Royal Thai Police, and we are going to continue this cooperation. Apart from that, the Russian Interior Ministry is planning to send an official representative of Russia to Bangkok, who will be based here and who will be in charge of cooperation with Thailand in combating transnational crime. Another good development is that the Russian Federal Service for Drug Control is planning to open a regional office in Bangkok. So we have agreed to sign a memorandum of understanding between the drug control agencies of Russia and Thailand on strengthening cooperation in combating drugs trafficking.
So the cooperation will be quite broad-based, covering very comprehensive areas.
We talked about economic and trade cooperation, which is going to be the focus of our efforts. But security cooperation is also a very important area. Combating crime is one thing, but security in the Asia-Pacific region is another important area.
Anti-terrorism as well?
Counter-terrorism and cooperation between the armies of Russia and Thailand. By the way, within the ADMM Plus mechanism, which is the ASEAN Defense Ministers meeting, plus partners, dialogue partners, Russia and Thailand are co-chairs of the working group on military medicine. And we are going to continue this cooperation with Thailand as well as with other partners in the Asia-Pacific region to strengthen security, to promote confidence-building measures. And we hope that in the future a new, a more balanced regional architecture of security and cooperation.
More balanced.
More balanced.
Meaning not only siding with the Americans.
Based on the mutual respect, on collective wisdom, and due consideration of legitimate interests of all countries. That such a new architecture will be established. And Russia has initiated, alongside with China, later joined with Brunei, a new document called Framework Principles on strengthening cooperation, security cooperation in the Asia Pacific, which is going to be discussed with the framework of the East Asian Summit, by the way.
Oh, interesting. President Putin visited Thailand in 2003.
Yes.
When is he coming back?
Well,
he's quite familiar with Thailand, I know.
he is quite familiar with Thailand, and after President Putin's visit in 2003, we also received high-level officials from Thailand, and Her Majesty the Queen of Thailand also visited Russia on behalf of His Majesty King Rama IX.
Yes.
And of course, we'd like to see more exchanges of highest and high-level visits between Russia and Thailand. Well, due to instability in Thailand in the previous period of time, some contacts which had already been planned had to be postponed.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that we will resume those contacts in the near future, and some time will pass, and we will have another highest level visit, a summit meeting between our leaders. This is for sure, but we should work hard to prepare the conditions for such a visit.
So you have to make sure President Putin comes back to Thailand or visit Thailand again.
Well, of course, I hope
he's
that
a busy man, we know.
I hope that he will do that, and that other Russian officials will also visit Thailand.
Yeah.
This goes along the lines of the Russian policy of additional attention to the Asia-Pacific region.
Sure.
And this is reflected in the schedule of our president, who is going to visit China to attend the APEC summit meeting in mid-November.
Yes.
And then he will go to Brisbane to attend the G20 meeting, while Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev will represent Russia at the East Asian Summit in
Myanmar.
Naypyidaw, Myanmar.
I see.
Yeah. Last May, President Putin visited China, where some landmark agreements, including the huge gas contract, were signed.
Right.
And the Prime Minister of India is going to visit Russia shortly. So from these visits, you see how important Asia is becoming to Russia now. And I'm sure that with the help from our friends in Thailand, your beautiful country will also be the focus of the Russian foreign policy in the future.
President Putin's image from the outside is a tough guy, ready to face down with Obama. What kind of a guy is he?
Well, I used to be the special envoy of the president of the Russian Federation.
So you're quite close.
The Shanghai Cooperation
You're quite close
Organization.
to President Putin.
And I can tell you that he's a very quiet, very self-restrained and reserved, a very knowledgeable person who has devoted the whole life to serving the national interests of my country and the people of Russia. And
so he doesn't speak very much, huh?
Well, he's a very outspoken.
But you say he's a quiet guy.
Well, of course, we Russians are quiet people when we are not bullied by others. You know?
but
when it comes to defending truth and justice, of course, we stand up to fight.
Some people who don't like him say he's a dictator. Is he a dictator?
Do you think so? I don't.
Well, he was elected by the people, and I think his popularity rating is still very good, very high.
He was elected president of Russia through democratic procedures, and he was re-elected.
Yes,
and
he's very popular.
And his popularity is growing.
Why?
Although some people thought that his popularity during his previous term was the
Highest.
the highest popularity
the
of the
peak.
peak of the popularity of any politician. But the fact is that his popularity is growing. That means that he's likable to the majority of the Russian people. Of course, we are a democratic country, and there are also people and political forces in Russia who adhere liberal values and
Yes.
who would like to see reforms of the Russian political system, and who would propose another economic policy. But in a democratic country, everything is resolved through democratic
So
procedures.
opposition parties are allowed to speak freely.
Of course, we have a free press. We have a democratic political system, and it is the people of Russia who say yes or no, who give the votes to those politicians and those political parties whom they like. So you cannot deceive the people. You know?
Yeah.
And then you see the result.
Before Bangkok, you were posted in.
I was posted in China, and I was posted in New York in the Russian permanent mission to the United Nations, and I was posted to Indonesia. So I'm not new to the region.
You spent some time in China.
I did.
How many years?
I was privileged to study in China in mid-80s, when the relations between Russia and China, the Soviet Union at that time, and China were not normalized.
Right.
And the exchange of students were a part of the efforts of both sides to melt down ice between the two countries.
So you were one of the students?
Yes.
Exchange students?
I was an exchange
Why did you
student
choose
in
China? Why did you choose to study Chinese?
Well, it was rather strange because nobody in my family had affiliations with China.
No.
But from the very early age, I was intrigued by the mysterious Oriental culture, and I read a lot about China and about Asia, and I said to myself that I have to make it. The Chinese language is one of the most difficult languages in the world, and for me it was a challenge to pass exams, to be recruited to the university, to learn the Chinese, to master the language, to understand the culture, and to become an expert on this country. So I set this goal before myself.
How many years did you study Chinese?
Well, I studied 6 years at the university. I spent
all in Chinese. The classes were taught
in Chinese. Wow. The classes from the first grade to the graduation, and I spent 1 year in China as an exchange student.
Yes.
So all in all, it was 7 years. But after I graduated and was enrolled in the foreign ministry, I continued my studies, and I defended my PhD thesis in Chinese history 10 years later.
In Russia?
In Russia. In
Chinese
Moscow.
history, huh?
Yep.
Wow. And you later on became also interpreter.
Well, I was invited as interpreter after the Gorbachev's visit to China in 1989.
You were there with
At that
President
time,
Gorbachev.
I was a last year student of the university.
Yes.
But because of my good command of the Chinese language,
Yes.
they put an eye on me.
Yeah.
And they invited me to join the team of interpreters who accompanied President Gorbachev to
Wow.
China.
So you were very close to President Gorbachev at that time.
1989. Well, of course, I was a young guy at that time.
And you saw things happening.
I did.
The Tiananmen demonstration.
Yeah, it was a historic moment and a very turbulent time in
Yeah.
the history of China.
Yes.
And I was happy to be a witness of history. I saw the history in the making.
Wow. Looking back, do you think President Gorbachev's visit had any part to do with the students' decision to move on with the demonstration? Because some people say Gorbachev was opening up the Soviet Union then, and he inspired the Chinese students at Tiananmen.
Well, you are right saying that President Gorbachev was very popular
Yes?
among the students and pro-democratic forces in China at that time. But I don't think that his visit played any role in the resolution of the crisis in China. Quite contrary, President Gorbachev rejected the proposal to meet with the students, although he was approached by the leaders of the protest movement to go to the Tiananmen Square or to meet representatives of the students, but he declined to do so, and that was a very wise move on his part.
That would have
because
been quite controversial.
Gorbachev said to his close circle that I was invited by the
Yes.
government of China and
Yes.
by the leaders of the Communist Party of China. I'm a
Yeah.
guest here.
Right.
So I am here to normalize relations between the Soviet Union and China, between the Communist Party of the Soviet Union and the Chinese Communist Party. So I should not meddle in the domestic affairs of China. And
That was a wise decision.
wise decision. That's true.
Studying Chinese difficult?
Yes, it requires a lot of efforts, maybe a couple of talents.
Talents, huh?
Yes, a good ear for music and an ability to draw are among those factors who are conducive to good results in the Chinese studies.
学中文很难吗？
学中文不容易
不容易哈。
啊，但是but I would say that
Chinese, say Chinese.
you think so?
Yes, speak Chinese.
但是我认为学中文呢，最重要的是勤劳、用功、
勤劳用功。
用功。没有这一点呢，中文学不好。这是100%的。没有这一点呢，做一个好的中国问题专家是不可能的。
但是你也是做个翻译员哈。翻译是难吗？是。
翻译是一种技术，也是一种艺术。
是啊。
做一个好翻译不容易。
不容易。
这需要几个方面的能力。第一，需要有很好的语言水平。第二，反应要很快。
对啊。
第三，除了外语以外呢，需要知道很多文化方面的东西。第四，要懂政治、经济各方面。特别是口头翻译、同声传译。
对。
这些专业，跟普通的翻译是两回事。我做翻译做10多年。10多年了。对。所以呢，我可以说是变成为这个专业性的翻译。这个工作很累。很
累哈？
非常累，非常累，但是很愉快。我很荣幸，做俄罗斯和中国高级谈判当中的翻译，这使得我感到非常的。
现在还有中国的朋友吗？
我中国朋友很多啊。
还有联系吗？
是啊，到现在为止。我们通信来往啊。如果我去中国，我当然想办法抽出时间来见见我的朋友。
在泰国，你 想学泰语啊？
我当然希望学着台语，台语很难，所以呢，我的希望不大
泰语比中文还难啊！
不知道，但是，从下个月开始，我要学，我要上这个台语课
啊，
所以我下一次我们见面，希望我能
对啊，
说一点台语。
对啊，我们再见面的时候也要说泰语了。
但愿如此。
不说英文，不说俄罗斯了。Thank you very much, Ambassador Vasquez.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.